man struggling to touch a far-off God. And then, one starry midnight in Bethlehem, God bent down and gathered up the world in a warm, loving embrace. It should have been the worst and bleakest of Christmases, and it turned out to be the loveliest of all.
I was 9 years old, one of 7 children, and we lived in a little farming town in Utah. It had been a tragic year for all of us. Mama had died that previous summer. She'd been confined to bed for 3 years, and my main task was being Mama's hands and feet until that day in June, her own birthday, when she died.
2 months later came the big fire. Our barn, sheds, haystacks, and livestock were all destroyed, and we had no money at all.
Every year in our town, a Christmas Eve social was held at the church. I remember Dad buttoning our coats, placing us all on our long homemade sleigh, and pulling us to the church about a mile away. It was snowing. Oh, how cold and good it felt on our faces. We held tight to one another, and above the crunch of the snow beneath Dad's feet, we could hear him softly whistling Silent Night. Well, I don't remember much about the Christmas Eve social. I just remember Dad pulling us there and pulling us back. And later, in the front room around our pot-bellied stove, he served us warm milk and bread. Our Christmas tree had been brought from the nearby hills, and strings of our homegrown popcorn made it the most beautiful tree I had ever seen or smelled. And after supper, Dad made all 7 of us sit in a half circle by the tree. And he sat on the floor facing us and told us that he was ready to give us our Christmas gift. We were puzzled because we thought Christmas presents were for Christmas morning.
Long ago, on a night like this, some poor shepherds were watching their sheep on a lonely hillside, when all of a sudden,
his quiet voice went on and on, telling the story of the Christ child in his own simple words. There was light from the oil lamp and warmth from the stove, but somehow it was more than that. We felt Mama's presence, and we were filled with peace and happiness and joy. And when the story was ended, Dad had us all kneel for a family prayer.
Try to remember, when everything else seems to be lost, the greatest thing of all remains: God's love for us. That's what Christmas means. That's the great gift that can never be taken away.
The next morning we found that Dad had whittled little presents for each of us and hung them on the tree. Dolls for the girls and whistles for the boys. But he was right. He had given us our real gift the night before. Well, all that happened long ago, but to this day it still comes back to me whenever I hear Silent Night, or feel snowflakes on my face, or, best of all, when I get an occasional glimpse of Christ shining in my 90-year-old father's face. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken.
I have exalted one, chosen out of the people. He shall cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. Also I will make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me.
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
It was Christmas Eve, and as usual, George Mason was the last to leave the office. He walked over to a massive safe, spun the dials, and swung the heavy door open. Making sure the door would not close behind him, he stepped inside. A square of white cardboard was taped just above the topmost row of strong boxes. On the card, a few words were written. George Mason stared at those words, remembering.
Exactly 1 year ago, I had entered this vault. And then, behind my back, very slowly, the ponderous door swung shut. I was trapped, entombed in the sudden and terrifying dark. I hurled myself at the unyielding door. I had heard of men found suffocated in vaults. No time clock controlled the mechanism, and the safe would remain locked until it was opened from the outside tomorrow morning. And then it hit me. No one would come tomorrow, for tomorrow was Christmas. I flung myself at the door, shouting wildly until I sank to my knees, exhausted. More than 36 hours would pass before anyone would come. 36 hours in a steel box, 3 feet wide, 8 feet long, 7 feet high. Would the oxygen last? Perspiring and breathing heavily, I felt my way around the floor. Then in the far right-hand corner, just above the floor, I found a small circular opening. I thrust my finger into it and felt a faint, cool current of air. The tension release was so sudden, I burst into tears. Surely I wouldn't have to stay trapped for the full 36 hours. Somebody would miss me. But who? I was unmarried and lived alone. The maid who cleaned my apartment was just a servant, and I always treated her as such. I had been invited to spend Christmas with my brother's family, but children got on my nerves, and they expected presents. A friend had asked me to go to a home for elderly people and play the piano, but I had made some excuse. I had intended to sit at home with a good cigar, listening to some new recordings I was giving myself. Nobody would miss me. Nobody would come and let me out. Nobody.
The whole of Christmas Day went by, and succeeding night. And on the morning after Christmas, the head clerk came into the office at the usual time, opened the safe, and then went on into his private office. No one saw George Mason stagger out into the corridor, run to the water cooler, and swallow great gulps of water. And no one paid any attention to him as he left and took a taxi home. There, he shaved, changed his wrinkled clothes, ate breakfast, and then returned to his office where his employees greeted him, casually. Grimly, the truth closed in on George Mason. He had vanished from human society during the great festival of brotherhood, and no one had missed him at all. Through the year that followed, George Mason had tried to prepare himself. And now, once more, it is Christmas Eve. Slowly he backs out of the safe and closes it. He touches its grim steel face lightly, almost affectionately, and leaves the office. There he goes now in his black overcoat and hat, the same George Mason as a year ago. Or is it? He walks a few blocks, then flags a taxi. You see, his nephews are expecting him to help trim the tree, and afterwards he's taking his brother and his sister-in-law to a Christmas play. Why is he so happy? Why does this jostling against others, laden as he is with bundles, exhilarate and delight him? Perhaps the square of white cardboard has something to do with it. The card he taped inside the safe last New Year's Day. It is written in George Mason's own hand.
To love people, to be indispensable somewhere, That is the purpose of life. That is the secret of happiness. It was one of those raw December days that made people wish they'd shopped in July. Snowflaked winds were whipping through the streets. Hunched on a sidewalk bench was an unshaven man wearing a threadbare jacket and shoes, but no socks. He had folded a paper bag around his neck to keep out the biting wind. One shopper paused.
Such a pity. Oh, but there is really nothing I can do.
As she lingered there, a little girl with a bright red woolen scarf walked by and spotted the frostbitten figure on the bench. She stopped, unwrapped her red scarf, draped it tenderly about his neck, and slipped away. The shopper crept away.
I was that shopper, and I learned something that day that I never want to forget. Wherever I am, whatever I possess, there is always something I can give. A touch, a smile, a prayer, even a red scarf. For years now, whenever Christmas pageants are talked about in a certain little town in the Midwest, someone is sure to mention the name of Wallace Perling. Wally's performance in one annual production of the Nativity play has slipped into the realm of legend. But the old-timers who were in the audience that night never tire of recalling exactly what happened.
Wally was 9 that year, and in the 2nd grade, though he should have been in the 4th. Most people in town knew that he had difficulty in keeping up. He was big and clumsy, slow in movement and mind. But he was a helpful boy, a willing and smiling one, and the natural protector of the underdog. Wally wanted to be a shepherd with a flute in the Christmas pageant that year, but the play's director, Miss Lombard, gave him a more important role.
After all, the innkeeper doesn't have too many lines, and Wally's size will make his refusal of lodging more forceful.
And so it happened. The usual large audience gathered for the town's yearly extravaganza of beards, crowns, halos, and a whole stage full of squeaky voices. No one on stage or off was more caught up in the magic of the night than Wallace Perling.
Then the time came when Joseph appeared, slowly, tenderly guiding Mary to the door of the inn. Joseph knocked hard on the wooden door set into the painted backdrop. Wally, the innkeeper, was there, waiting.
What do you want?
We seek lodging.
Seek it elsewhere. The inn is filled.
Sir, we've asked everywhere in vain. We've traveled far and are very weary.
There is no room in this inn for you.
Oh, please, good innkeeper. This is my wife, Mary. She's heavy with child and needs a place to rest. Surely you must have some small corner for her. She's so tired.
Now, for the first time, the innkeeper relaxed his stiff stance and looked down at Mary. With that, there was a long pause. No, be gone.
Joseph sadly placed his arm around Mary, and Mary laid her head upon her husband's shoulder, and the two of them started to move away. But the innkeeper did not return inside his inn. Wally stood there in the doorway, watching the forlorn couple. His mouth was open, his brow creased with concern, his eyes filling unmistakably with tears. And suddenly, this Christmas pageant became different from all others.
Don't go, Joseph. Bring Mary back. You can have my room.
The Father sent his Son to earth to be our King. No castle rich was there when he was born. A poor and lowly stable was the only place for him, although he came to rescue man forlorn. Now those of us who know the Lord and are from bondage free, who celebrate the joy of this glad day, if we the children of the King, who gladly spread the news, he's come to take the guilt of sin away.
Some people in town thought that the pageant had been ruined, and yet there were others, many, many others, who considered it the most Christmassy of all Christmas pageants they had ever seen. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, under the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. The angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
May the quietness of Christmas, the calm and holy hush of that first Advent season, still our Christmas rush. May our memories of the manger reassure us and ease the stress of troubled hearts in troubled times with His peace and quietness.